Good day, everyone. So we are the group 7 and our task is to report about minerals. So what is minerals? Minerals pertain to the elements in their simple and organic form. In nutrition, they are commonly referred to as mineral elements, or in the case of those present or required in small amounts, they are known as trace elements or trace minerals. There is also the macro minerals. When we say trace minerals, you only need a small quantity of it. Like for example, the iron in oxygen for oxygen transport and zinc for immune function. Um, for macro minerals naman, you need um, you need 100 milligram of minerals to sustain your body, like for example the calcium for the bones and sodium and potassium for fluid balance. So minerals are simple and destructible elements like iron or calcium that keep their structure even when cooked. Minerals are originated in earth soil and water and absorbed by plants or consumed by animals. So, as you can see on the screen, these are the mineral composition in the body. There are 21 mineral elements known to be essential in nutrition. Analysis of minerals, however, shows the presence of more than 25 found in the body. So, these are the macrominerals: calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, sodium, chlorine, magnesium, iron, zinc, selenium, manganese, copper, iodine, molybdenum, cobalt, chromium, fluorine, vanadium, nickel, tin, and silicon. So, and these are also the traces of minerals: barium, bromine, strontium, gold, silver, aluminum, bismuth, gallium, arsenic. So macronutrients and trace minerals are both essential for our body, but they differ in their required amounts. Macronutrients needed a larger amount, while the trace minerals, on the other hand, or the micronutrients, only needed a small quantity. So, macronutrients serve as the body's main energy sources and structural materials. Trace minerals act as a cofactor for enzymes, support hormone function, and regulate metabolic pathways. Example, iron for oxygen transport, zinc for immune function, and iodine for thyroid hormone synthesis. While the macronutrients, the carbohydrates provide glucose for ATP, proteins supply amino acids, and fats offer energy storage and cell membrane components. So macrominerals are the major minerals. They are crucial for maintaining proper fluid balance, supporting bone and teeth health, enabling muscle contractions, and transmitting nerve signals. Trace, trace minerals or the minor minerals, they act as catalysts in various chemical reactions, support oxygen transport, aid in hormone production, and strengthen the immune system. So macrominerals is needed in amounts greater than 100 mg per day, reflecting their role in bulk structural and physiological functions. Like for example, calcium for bones and trace minerals, it requires much smaller amounts, usually less than 100 mg per day, often measured in micrograms due to their potent but specific roles in metabolism. Like the example of it is the iron for oxygen transport. So these are the classification of the minerals. Macronutrients essential at levels of 100 mg or more per day are the calcium, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, chloride, sodium, and magnesium. And micronutrients essential at levels higher than a few milligram per day are the iron, fluorine, zinc, copper, iodine, chromium, and cobalt. These are the micronutrients essential, but amounts needed for humans cannot be estimated at present. Silicon, vanadium, tin, selenium, manganese, nickel, molybdenum. Minerals present in humans, function not known, are the strontium, bromine, gold, silver, aluminum, bismuth, arsenic, and boron. So, So to make sense of this table, we can think of it as a guide of how our bodies organize and use different minerals based on how much of we need them. At the very top, we have the macronutrients, which are the major players our body relies on in large quantities. These are the minerals we must consume in amounts of 100 milligrams or more every single day. While below are the micronutrients or trace minerals. While we still absolutely need this to survive, we only require very tiny daily doses, usually just a few milligrams. So, um, and the third group consists of minerals that are essential but currently unmeasurable.
Hello everyone. I will be the reporter for calcium and magnesium. So firstly, what is calcium? Calcium is the most abundant mineral in our body in which it promotes the strengthening for our teeth and bones. So now let's discuss where does the where does calcium comes from. So these are the food sources for calcium. Firstly, seafood and shellfish. They are the kohol, hipon, tagunton, kalangka, dried dilis or hibi, sardines, susong pilipit, galunggong, dried ayungin, and biya. For the dairy products, these are the cheese, herbals milk, evaporated milk. For greens and others, the malunggay leaves, saluyot, seaweed, or gamet, bagoong, and dried fish. And the lastly, it's silin yasi. So go further ahead for the functions of calcium. So beyond the bones, five essential roles: structural support, muscle activity, blood clotting, cell membranes, nerve and heart function. For the first function, it combines the calcium with phosphorus to form calcium phosphate, in which the hard matrix of bone and teeth. For muscle activity, participates in muscular contraction and relaxation. Next is blood clotting, promotes normal blood coagulation. It means that it makes the blood more fluid and it doesn't make it clot or it gets stuck up. Next is cell membranes. It affects cell membrane transport, acting as a membrane stabilizer. Nextly is the nerve and heart function required for nerve transmission and regulation for heartbeat. So let's go. Next. What improves calcium absorption? So increased body needs, growth, pregnancy, lactation, and up to 60% absorbed during these times or phases, especially for growth. As we can see when young children, these are the best example for children because every parent always says that you should drink milk to support your growth and this and that because milk gives a lot of benefits for our body. Next is low dietary intake. So this part, imagine someone who doesn't have that kind of privilege to eat and to eat 3 times a day, or let's say people who don't eat intentionally. So whenever they take or absorb calcium into their body, it absorbs more than the regular basis. So for vitamin D, boosts intestinal membrane permeability and active transport. Gastric, celiac gastric pH favors absorption. Alkaline conditions cause precipitation. Next is high lactose to calcium ratio forms a soluble transportable complex. Balanced CAP ratio for 1.5 per 1 in infants and then 1:1 for adults. Next is what reduces calcium absorption. So, as we all know, old age, oxalic acid for spinach, alugbati, kamyas, kutsarita, and other leafy green bind calcium. Next is for the phytic acid. Cereals like wheat and oatmeal um, they the phytase can offset. Next is the excess dietary fat forms insoluble soaps with calcium, worse in sprue and cytoria. Next is high GI motility, so meaning the growth gastrointestinal part. Laxatives and high bulk foods speed transit, cutting absorption time. Next is for lack of exercise. This is very exactly why do you need or what's the point in drinking something if you're not going to use it? If you're just going to let it sit because bone calcium loss and reduce replacement. Because every time that we perform those kind of activities, especially exercises, we tend to break, not technically but in a way, our bones. Call it microfractures, and then those microfractures uses the calcium that we intake or absorb from eating those kind of certain foods, calcium abundant foods, and then repairs it and then makes it stronger. Next is mental stress linked to decreased absorption. Alcohol and caffeine. Alcoholism lowers absorption. 1 cup of coffee raises urinary loss by 6 milligrams. Okay, so next is, let's say, the deficiency in excess. What happens when calcium intake is imbalanced? So deficiency, retarded growth, impaired growth in children, rickets, deficiency bone mineralization in growing bone, osteomalacia or the adult rickets, reduced mineral content of bone. Next is tetany, reduced ionization of or ionized calcium, raises nerve excitability, and causes uncontrolled muscle reactions. For the excess part is hypercalcemia, abnormally elevated blood calcium levels resulting in form of excessive intake or impaired regulation. So these are the recommended calcium intakes for the following. For infants from birth to 6 old, 6 month old, from 6 kilograms, it costs them about 65 milligrams per day. Infants from 6 months to 12 are, and they weigh 9 kilograms, requires 80. Children from 1 to 3 years old, 13 kilograms, 160 milligrams per day. 4 to 6 years old, 19 kilograms, 200 milligrams per day. For 7 to 9, requires 24. They are 24 kilograms and consumes for about 300, and then so on and so forth. Now let's continue on magnesium. So what is magnesium? The magnesium is an important part of the minerals into our body, in which they help regulate the muscle and nerve contraction. So the distribution of magnesium in the body is, it goes around 50% in the bones combined with the phosphate and calcium, and less than 1% in extracurricular fluid. The rest is almost entirely intracellular. And less than 25 grams, a total of zero point 0.5 grams per kilogram fat-free body weight. And then the second most abundant intracellular cellular after phosphorus. The plasma magnesium approximately is 1.5 to 2 MEq per liter, highest concentration in muscles and red blood cells. Functions of magnesium, these are the 6 wells of metabolism and structure. The energy transfer, essential cofactor for many enzyme systems that transfers energy. Photosynthesis, the core of the chlorophyll molecule, vital to plant photosynthetic reactions. Next is the cellular metabolism. high intracellular levels found in the metabolically active muscle and liver tissue. Fourth, the phosphorus regulation helps regulate blood phosphorus level. The next one is the nerve and muscle function, promotes nerve impulse and the conduction and normal muscle contraction. Tooth enamel may increase the stability of calcium in tooth enamel. So these are the following food sources for magnesium: the nuts, seafoods, soybeans, whole grains, meat, dried beans, milk, peas, cocoa or cacao, and then green plants. And also these are the conditions in which if the deficiency or excess of the mineral magnesium. Deficiency, hypomagnesiemic tetany. It is also observed in kwashiorkor in infants or children, intestinal malabsorption, prolonged diarrhea or vomiting, alcoholism, prolonged magnesium-free IV fluids after surgery, diuretic use, hypercalcemia, diabetes, and acute renal failure with polyuria. For excess, the hypermagnesemia, toxicity, hypotension, arrhythmia or cardiac arrest, ECG changes, decreased tendon reflexes, and the worst part, coma. And these are the following magnesium intakes. Next is the key takeaways. Both minerals are, meaning the calcium and magnesium, are stored mainly in bones, yet their soft tissue factors drive critically daily functions. Absorption is a balancing act enhanced by vitamin D and the body demand. It may hindered by the oxalates, phthalates, and the lifestyle factors. Deficiency in excess of their mineral disrupt nerve, muscle, and cardiac function. Requirements rise sharply during growth, pregnancy, and lactation, reflected by directly in the R and I tables, just like the following. So that is all for me. Thank you very much.
The next is will be the continuation about the minerals. Sodium. Sodium is a monovalent cation and one of the most important minerals in the human body. It plays a vital role in maintaining fluid balance, acid-base balance, and normal muscle and nerve functions. So, ang sodium daw guys is important yapon ni siya because uy, important yapon ni siya guys para sa tuang lawas because the role of the sodium sa ato ang body is iyahang gina-maintain ang balance sa mga liquid nga naa sa ato ang lawas, like ang balance sa acid o sa alkaline or acid-base balance. At kaning ang sodium japon is mao ni siya ang nagapa-maintain sa mga functions ato ang muscles o sa ato ang mga nerves. The distribution of the sodium, well, sodium is distributed throughout the body as follows. 50% is found in the extracellular fluid or mga likidong nasa labas sa ato ang mga cells. Mga nabilong na diri is ang mga daluyan sa mga dugo, to parehas ang mga arteries, ugat ug mga capillaries. Next is 10% is found in the intracellular fluid or kaning mga liquids nga naa sa loob ug sa nagpalibot sa ato ang cells. Next is 40% is stored in the skeleton. Kung asa naka attach sa ibabaw sa mga crystal nga bones ang sodium. Okay. What is the functions of the sodium? Sodium performs several important functions in our body. First is it maintains fluid balance because sa pamamagitan ani nagakontrol ang paglihok sa tubig o mga pagsulod o paglabas sa mga cells. Next is it maintains acid-base balance para ma-maintain na to ang normal nga level sa ato ang pH level sa ato ang lawas. Next is it facilitates the transport of nutrients. Pareha ng glucose. Because of this, the membrane sa ato ang cells. Last is it supports normal muscle and nerve excitability. Kaya important ni siya because ito ang sa paggalaw sa it communicates sa mga nerve cells nato. Where does the sodium can be found? Food sources of sodium is commonly in dietary sources commonly makita nato or gain nato day ang sodium is first is sa carrots, celery, beets, spinach, peas, condiments and seasonings. So makita dyan po natin siya which is makuha nato sa soy sauce, toyo, fish sauce, patis, BSN, makuha po nato niya siya sa processed foods para sa tocino, tapa, bacon, hotdog, lunch meat, sardines and other sources pa. Wait lang. Food preservation and additives. So, ang recommended wala sa na din siya. Next is the mag-ingon ko kanang recommended dietary allowance para sa sodium intake. So, sodium intake should be sufficient to support our normal growth, replace the sodium loss through sweat, replace sodium loss in secretions, replace sodium loss in urine, replace sodium loss in feces, and compensate for non-sweat losses of the skin. Next is I'm going to tell you what are the effects of sodium deficiency or kakulangan sa sodium sa ato ang lawas. So, sodium deficiency may occur due to dehydration and heat exhaustion. Kaning dehydrate kay ta or kanang kapoy kita tapos uhaw kay ta nga na. Next is drinking large amount of water without replacing lost salt. Next is significant blood loss after surgery, severe diarrhea and vomiting, long-term adherence to very low sodium diets. So what are the possible effects sa kakulangan sa sodium sa ato ang lawas? Well, it can cause weakness, fatigue, it can also cause muscle cramps, dizziness, impaired nerve and muscle function. Then, what are the effects if too much ang makuha na to sa sodium? Excess sodium accumulates mainly in the intracellular fluid and it may cause edema, fluid retention. It commonly occurs in conditions such as hypertension, which is the high blood pressure, and last is the kidney disorders. Next that I'm going to discuss is about the potassium. Potassium is the principal cation found inside the cells. Approximately 2.6 kilograms of fat-free body weight is potassium. About 0.35 of body weight. Only small amounts are present in the intracellular fluid. So, ang potassium day guys ay isa dyan ni siya ka important mineral and electrolyte na kailangan sa ato ang lawas para mapa-maintain nato ang normal nga mga body functions sa ato mga cells, sa ato ang muscles and sa ato ang mga nerves. Og kani siya is pangunahing cation ni siya nga matagpo nga makita sa kaning sa inside sa cells sa ato ang lawas. What are the functions of potassium? So, mainly it maintains fluid and electrolyte balance in our body. Next, it helps to regulate acid-base balance and supports the activity of skeletal and cardiac muscles. So, it helps first is to maintain fluid and electrolyte balance itong lawas. So, kini siya is gina-maintain niya ang mga ka-healthy o kanang mga tawag ni mga kani healthy nga cells nga nag-agi sa ato ang lawas or also sa it helps to maintain the fluid, mga liquids nga naa sa sulod sa atong lawas o mga electrolytes nga mapabalance sila or dili sila maging bungkig because if mabungkig sila nga makakos na siya og kanang unhealthy para sa atong lawas. Then the regulate the acid-base balance and supports the activity of skeletal and cardiac muscles. Well, it helps nga gina-regulate nila ang acid base sa ato ang lawas, which is mao na siya ang pagbalance atong giingon na ganina, which is pareha sa sodium ang katong sa pagbalance sa acid o sa alkaline. Then because sa pagbalance na to sa sa mga acids, pagbalance sa potassium sa mga acids nga nasa atong lawas, kana siya is naga-support na siya sa mga activity which is the skeletal and the activity of skeletal and cardiac muscles, which is mapa-functions na tog maayo nga tuwang mga muscle o ang mga bukog nga naa sa atong lawas. Next is act as a muscle relaxant working in contrast to calcium. Well, act as a muscle relaxant is mao ni siya ang nagahatag og kaning sa to ang muscles bro. Ginaparelax, ginatagaan niya relaxation nga dili basta-basta mag karoon og mga muscle cramps, kaning kakulangan niya sa or kana magka-contrast siya sa calcium because it stimulates our muscle contraction. Next is it supports carbohydrates and protein metabolism. Basically, potassium supports the carbohydrate and protein metabolism. Is sa atong lawas, which is ang carbohydrate is important man Japon, important na siya, pero because sa potassium gina-maintain niya nga maging balanse ang carbohydrate o protein sa atong lawas, because if too much carbohydrate manggod ta makakos na siya og manaba ta or maging too much ang maging sugar nga sa atong lawas, and if mag protein lang pod ang mag-maintain sa atong lawas, which is the protein protein metabolism is too much nga protein with makakos ba na sa to og maging weak ta because eating too much kaning mga meat, di ba mapansin mo na to is medyo makapa weak na sa to. Then next is where does the potassium or the sources of food can be. Food sources potassium can be obtained from the meat, legumes, milk, raw and dried fruits, fruit juices, dark green vegetables, and unrefined cereals. The recommended dietary allowance of a healthy diet should contain approximately 2 to 6 grams of potassium per day. Potassium deficiency is generally uncommon in healthy individuals. What are the effects of potassium deficiency? So, mao ni siya ang kakulangan sa potassium, which is called hypokalemia. Hypokalemia refers to low serum potassium levels, kakulangan sa potassium. It may result from prolonged wasting disease, tissue destruction, malnutrition, vomiting, diarrhea, gastric suction, or diabetic acidosis. The symptoms of kakulangan sa potassium sa ato ang lawas is first it can ang symptoms ani is apathy, muscular weakness, mental confusion, abdominal distension. The effects of too much potassium or nasobraan sa potassium sa talawas or also called hyperkalemia. Hyperkalemia refers to elevated serum potassium levels. It commonly occurs when the kidneys cannot excrete the potassium effectively. So mo din siya ang kanang ang kidney na to is dili niya dili ka function nagtarong nga dili niya um, ma-maintain ang kabalance sa potassium sa tuang lawas which is mo na makakos sa tuwa sa too much nga potassium. Effects ani is weakening of heart function, mental confusion, poor respiration, numbness of extremities. In conclusion, potassium is an essential mineral that plays a vital role in fluid balance, muscle function, acid-base regulation, and metabolism. Adequate intake through foods such as fruits, vegetables, legumes, milk, and meat helps maintain the normal body functions, while both deficiency and excess can lead to significant health problems. That's all. Thank you.
So, I am the next reporter and my topic was all about the phosphorus and sulfur. So, I'm just going to explain what is phosphorus and sulfur. So, first is the phosphorus. So, phosphorus is a highly reactive nonmetal and an essential building block for all known life. Also, it is a fundamental for DNA, cell membranes, and ATP. While it was historically discovered from urine, modern industrial uses rely on phosphate rock for fertilizers, agriculture, and chemical products. There are three phases of phosphorus. Phosphorus exists in several distinct allotropies, physical forms, with widely different properties. So, the three phases of phosphorus is white phosphorus, the red phosphorus, and the black phosphorus. So, white phosphorus, it is a highly toxic and pyrophoric. It glows in the dark and is similar used in military application like incendiary devices and smoke bombs. The next is the red phosphorus naman. It is a safer and more stable. This is amorphous form, is used in the striking surface of safety matches and in pyrotechnics. Then the black phosphorus naman is the most thermodynamically stable form. It has a layered structure similar to graphite and behaves like a semiconductor, holding massive potential for future tech and electronics. So, biological and dietary importance in phosphorus. So, approximately 85% of the phosphorus in the human body is stored in bones and teeth. The rest is distributed throughout cells, supporting muscles, contractions, kidney function, and nerve signaling. So, dietary sources. So, it is found in animal proteins and plant sources. Absorption naman, it is a phosphorus from animal foods is absorbed highly efficiently, whereas plant-based phosphorus is bound to phytates, making it harder for the human digestive tract to break down. That's all for the phosphorus. So next is the sulfur. So sulfur in atomic number kay 16 siya. Is a highly reactive multivalent non-metal vital to the earth core, human biology, and global agriculture. So most commercial sulfur is extracted during petroleum and natural gas refining to produce sulfuric acid, which drives global fertilization and battery manufacturing. So, in chemical and physical wonders naman, the shape of sulfur, pure sulfur at room temperature is a bright yellow, odorless, crystalline solid that most commonly bonds into 8-atom rings. Odorless elements, stinky compounds naman is pure element. Sulfur has no smell, but its volatile hydrogen sulfide smells like rotten eggs, and mercaptans are the chemical culprit behind the skunk's spray. Then extreme heat behaviors naman, when heated sulfur melt into a clear golden liquid, but as temperatures rise further, it polymerizes into long tangled chains, turning thick, dark, and blood red. So, in biological necessity naman, amino acids, it is a structural component of crucial amino acids like cysteine and methionine, which are the building blocks of protein. Vitamins and coenzymes naman, it is present in vital vitamins like thiamine and biotin, as well as coenzyme A. Then dietary sources naman, humans get their required sulfur by consuming protein-rich foods as well as organosulfur-rich vegetables like garlic, onions, broccoli, and kale. Next is the industrial powerhouse of the sulfur. So first is agriculture. So agriculture, manufacturing sulfate and phosphate fertilizers to increase crop yields. Mining and metallurgy. Next is mining and metallurgy, beneficiating and extracting non-ferrous metal like copper, zinc, and rare earth elements from raw ores. Then everyday materials naman is used in the vulcanization of rubber, bleaching paper, producing petroleum products, and powering lead acid storage batteries. And that's all for my report.
Good day everyone and to our instructor. I am Ayeshalay Binakpalit, a nursing student from second year section A. I will be reporting on two essential minerals, which is chlorine, a major mineral, and iron, a trace mineral under group 2. So let's start with chlorine. Chlorine is a major anion found mostly in fluid outside our cells. The highest concentration of chloride is actually in the cerebrospinal fluid around our brain and spine. Now, the normal level in blood plasma ranges to 95 to 105 milliequivalent per liter, or 340 to 370 milligram per 100 milliliter. Now, the large amounts are also present in our gastrointestinal secretions as hydrochloric acid or HCl, and small amounts can be found inside body cells too. So, chlorine has two main jobs. It maintains fluid balance, electrolyte balance, and acid-base balance in the body. It also provides the acidity needed for digestion in the form of stomach or HCl. Now let's move to food source. Our main source of chlorine is simply table salt, also known as sodium chloride. Let's move on to the effects of deficiency. When we lose too much chloride, such as from continuous vomiting, severe diarrhea, or gastric tube drainage, this results in alkalosis, a condition where the body fluids become too alkaline and lose proper balance. Moving on to iron, our body has about 75 mg of iron per kilogram of fat-free body weight, which totals roughly 3 to 5 grams for an average adult. This amount changes depending on age, sex, nutrition, health status, and body size. 60% to 75% is part of hemoglobin in our red blood cells. 5% is myoglobin. This is an oxygen-storing protein found only in muscle tissue, supplying oxygen directly to muscles so they can work properly. And around 26% is stored in the liver, spleen, and bone marrow. Iron has three key roles. Firstly, we have part of hemoglobin and myoglobin. It carries oxygen needed for cellular respiration and energy production. It is absolutely necessary for hemoglobin formation, and it also helps make vitamin A from beta carotene, produces antibodies and collagen, and supports other vital enzyme processes. Iron is better absorbed in its ferrous form than ferric form. There are two types, which are heme iron and non-heme iron. Firstly, let's talk about heme iron. Heme iron found only in meat, fish, and poultry, very easily absorbed by the body. Secondly, is we have non-heme iron. Non-heme iron found in cereals, vegetables, and eggs. This is the main source of iron in the typical Filipino diet. Absorption improves when eaten with meat or vitamin C rich foods. The other factors, absorption increases when the body needs more iron, like during growth, pregnancy, breastfeeding, or if you are already low in iron. High fiber intake reduces absorption. So iron in green leafy vegetables is not fully taken in. Drinking coffee with meals or within an hour after eating lowers absorption. And lastly, adding vitamin C or ascorbic acid boosts absorption significantly from 3.7% up to 10.4%. Let's proceed to the food sources. We have two sources, which is the animal sources and plant sources. So in animal sources, we have pork liver, beef liver, pork kidney, spleen, lungs, egg, clams, shrimp, fish, and crab. While on plant sources, we have enriched rice, rice bran, spaghetti, dried beans, ampalaya, leaves, kamote leaves, colitis, gabi leaves, malunggay leaves, mongo beans, and etc. As you can see, this is the table 25, the recommended intake. Requirements vary by group. Infants, 0.38 to 10 milligram per day. Children, 8 to 11 milligram per day. Adult males, 12 to 20 milligram per day. Menstruating women, 27 milligram per day. Pregnant and lactating women have higher requirements. Lack of iron causes iron deficiency anemia. Fewer or smaller red blood cells or low hemoglobin, which reduces the blood's ability to carry oxygen. The causes are poor diet, poor cooking methods, or blood loss from pregnancy, parasites, or blood donation. The symptoms are pale skin, easy fatigue, dizziness, insomnia, and poor appetite. While on the other hand, too much iron stored in the body is called hemosiderosis, common in people who cook in iron pots, infants given too many supplements, or those receiving multiple blood transfusions. It can also be caused by hemochromatosis, a genetic condition where the body absorbs too much iron. And that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Vasilivic Asabiar and I'm going to report about copper. So, first is copper is essential to our body for us to stay healthy. We only need a small amount of copper for us to stay healthy. So, copper is commonly found in all body tissues, especially in the liver, heart, and kidney. Next is, what is the functions of copper? One of the main functions of copper is the absorption of iron from the gastrointestinal tract or GI tract. In addition, it helps to transform from the body tissues used to produce healthy healthy red blood cells. So, although maskin gamay lang atong kailangan sa copper, need gyapon nato siya para for us to stay healthy. And that's all for the copper. Ay, dili pa day. Next is the food sources kung asa ta makakuha og copper. First is sa organs, meat, whole grain and cereals, shellfish or mga oysters, nuts, and cocoa. Next is moderate amount of source. Leafy vegetables, eggs, beans, and green peas. So next is, what is the deficiency or excess? First is the depigmentation of skin, hair. So mausab atong skin and hair kung walay copper. And next is hyperthermia. Na low blood cells, ay low body temperature. And that's all for the copper. Thank you. Good day everyone. So next is I'm going to report about iodine. So first is the distribution of iodine. The adults normally contain 20 to 30 milligrams of iodine, and about 70 to 80% or about 8 milligrams is concentrated in the thyroid glands, and the rest is widely diffused throughout all tissues, especially in the ovaries, muscles, and blood. So iodine is an essential mineral of our body. Like copper, we only need a small amount, but iodine plays a vital role in growth metabolism and to maintain our overall health. So next is, let's discuss about the functions of iodine. Iodine is needed for the product of thyroid hormone. It is an element required for synthesis of thyroxine. Primary function of thyroid is to produce thyroid hormones. Without enough iodine in the thyroid glands, it cannot produce sufficient hormones of growth. So dili ta mag-grow if walay iodine, which may lead so pwede siya mag-lead to unhealthy problems such as goiter and hypothyroidism. So next is, what is the food sources of iodine? So makita ni siya sa mga seafoods, mga seaweeds, and iodized salt. Next is the effects of deficiency. So iodine can cause goiter, ma-enlarge atong thyroid glands, and next is cretinism, causes by insufficient iodine intake of a mother during pregnancy. So while buntis pa ang mama, is baba ang iodine sa mama. So, mostly makita ni siya sa mga newborn baby. Next is mycedemia. Adults who had problems without low iodine intake throughout their childhood and adolescent stage. So, mo ni siya ang mga adult na sila karon pero sa during silang adolescent stage is baba ilang iodine. So, nagka-cause sila mga health issues. And that's all for iodine. Thank you.
Day, Miss. I am Alea Rosa from Good day, Miss. I am Alea Rosa from BSN 2A, and today I will be reporting about manganese. So, today I will discuss manganese and cobalt. I will discuss manganese, which is one of the trace minerals needed by our body. Although it is only required in small amounts, manganese is essential because it supports metabolism, enzyme activity, and overall health. So let's discuss distribution. The adult body contains only 10 to 20 milligram of manganese. It is mainly stored in the liver and kidneys, with small amounts in the retina, bones, and salivary glands. So manganese is present in very small amounts in the human body, only about 10 to 20 milligrams in adults. Most of it is stored in the liver and kidneys because these organs are involved in metabolism and filtration. Smaller amounts are also found in the retina, bones, and salivary glands, where it helps support their normal functions. Now let's move on to functions. Its function is activates many metabolic reaction in the body, acts as a cofactor or catalyst for enzyme involved in glucose and fat metabolism. It also helps increase the storage of thiamine or vitamin B1. Manganese activates many metabolic reactions in the body, meaning it helps convert the food we eat into energy. It also acts as a cofactor for enzymes involved in the metabolism in carbohydrates and fats, allowing these nutrients to be used efficiently. In addition, manganese helps increase the storage of thiamine or vitamin B1, which is important for nerve function. Now let's move on to food sources. Manganese is widely available in many healthy foods. Good sources include nuts, whole grain, whole grain, whole grain, cereals, dried legumes, green leafy, green leafy vegetables, fresh and dried fruits, and tea. Since these foods are commonly eaten, most people can meet their manganese needs through a balanced diet. About the recommended intake of manganese depends on a person's age and life stage. Adult men need about 2.3 milligrams per day, while adult women need 1.8 milligrams. The requirement increases slightly during pregnancy, which is 2.0 milligrams, and for breastfeeding is 2.6 to support both the mother and the baby's nutritional needs. And let's move on to deficiency or excess. Lastly, manganese deficiency and toxicity caused by diet are very uncommon in humans. This is because the body only requires a small amount, and manganese is found in many different foods. Next is cobalt. So, like manganese, cobalt is also a trace mineral. However, its main importance comes from being a component of vitamin B12, which is essential for body functions. For its distribution, cobalt is found only in trace amounts in the body. Most of the cobalt present is incorporated into vitamin B12 rather than existing on its own. About its functions, it is a component of vitamin B12. It is also essential for red blood cell formation and helps maintain the normal function of the body cells. Cobalt plays a vital role because it forms part of vitamin B12. This vitamin is necessary for the production of healthy red blood cells, which carry oxygen throughout the body. It also supports the normal functioning of body cells, especially nerve cells, and helps in DNA synthesis. Another is food sources. Cobalt is obtained from foods that contain vitamin B12. This include liver, oysters, clams, lean beef, veal, saltwater fish, and milk. Since vitamin B12 is mainly found in animal-based foods, people who avoid these foods may be at higher risk of deficiency. About the requirement, the body's need for cobalt is met through vitamin B12. The body cannot use cobalt by itself to produce vitamin B12, so it is important to consume foods that naturally contain this vitamin. And about its deficiency or excess. About its deficiency, we have pernicious anemia. And about the excess is polycythemia, which is the increased RBC count, and bone marrow hyperplasia. And a deficiency of cobalt, which usually happens from vitamin B12 deficiency, can cause pernicious anemia. In this condition, the body is unable to produce enough healthy red blood cells. On the other hand, excessive cobalt may lead to polycythemia, which is an abnormal increase uh, in red blood cells, and bone marrow hyperplasia. In conclusion, manganese and cobalt are both trace minerals that are required in only small amounts but are essential for maintaining good health. Manganese supports metabolism and enzyme activity, while cobalt is important because it is a part of vitamin B12, which is needed for red blood cell production and normal body functions. Maintaining a balanced diet is the best way to obtain adequate amounts of these essential minerals. And that's all for my report. Thank you.
So, good day everyone. By the way, my name is Kim Matapias and I'm the next reporter. And I'm going to discuss two minerals, which is the zinc and the molybdenum. So, let's proceed with the zinc first. So, zinc is an essential trace mineral that is found in all human cells. So, it is mainly stored in the eyes, sa liver, sa pancreas, sa kidneys, sa bones, teeth, skin, hair, and male reproductive organs. So, tanan na mention ako is makita ng zinc diri So, the human body contains about 2 to 5 grams of zinc. So, sa ato ang human body, naagid siya 2 to 5 grams na zinc. And most of it kay mas makitaan siya sa blood and in the red blood cells kaysa sa white blood cell. So, other function of zinc. So, zinc has many important functions in the body. Sa ako ang gi-mention ganina is like, zinc is na store gyud siya sa, naa siya sa human cells gyud. All human cells have zinc. So, it is part of several enzymes that help carry out chemical reactions. It also regulates enzymes activity and is involved in the formation of RNA, making it important for growth, tissue repair, cell division, and a healthy immune system. So the recommended daily intake of zinc depends sa age, sa gender or sex. So children need about 4 to 5 or 5 to 4 mg per day, while the adult need about 4 to 5 to 6 to 4 mg per day. So, pregnant o ang lactating women require more zinc kay naman ang baby dito ang mag-grow, mag ano sa tummy, so maka-benefit ang baby dito sa tummy sa mama. So, in summary, zinc is essential for normal growth, wound healing, immune function, and maintaining health cells. So, as you can see sa screen, sa naay table dita, so like what I said, mao ni ang zinc intakes for specific population groups. So, this table shows the recommended nutrient intake or the RNI. So, mao ni siya ang RNI of zinc for different ages, group, and life stages. So, the amount of zinc needed varies depending on a person's age, sex, and person ang unsay condition nimo such as pregnancy and lactation. So, sa infants, sa birth to less than 6 months, 1 to 4 mg day, while sa 6 to less than 12 months is 4 to mg day. So, infants grow, they needed more zinc to support rapid growth and development children. So, sa children naman kay sa 1 to 3 years, 4 to 4.5 mg a day. So, while the 4 to 6 o 7 to 9 is same 5.4 mg a day. So, ang children man pud good is need nila og more zinc as they grow because it support growth, immunity, and tissue repair. So, sa lahi pud ang sa males and females. So, mag-una ta sa males. So, the males is, ang mga lalaki is, ang edad na 10 to 12 years old is 6 to 8 mg per day. So, while the 13 to 15 years is 9.0 mg per day, while the 16 to 18 years old is 8.9 mg per day, while the 19 years and over is 6.4 mg a day. So, zinc requirements increase during adolescence because of rapid growth, and then decrease slightly in adulthood sad. So, while the female lahi pud sa girls, so sa 10 to 12 years is 6.0 mg a day, while the 13 to 15 years is 7.9 mg a day, and the 16 to 18 years is 7.0 mg a day. So, pag 19 years and over is 4.5 mg a day, kay ang female adolescents also need more zinc during growth, but the requirements become lower in adulthood compare sa lalaki. So, while the pregnant woman, ang first trimester nila is 5.1 mg a day, ang second trimester is 6.6 mg a day, and the third trimester is 9.6 mg a day. So, ang zinc, kina-required yun na increase ang pregnancy progress because the growing baby needs more nutrients for proper growth and development. So, sa lactating women sad, mas taas ang ilaha which is the 11.5 mg a day. Kay breastfeeding mothers need the highest amount of zinc because the zinc is passed to the baby through breast milk. So, overall, this table shows that zinc requirements vary according to age, sex, pregnancy, and breastfeeding. People with greater nutritional needs, such as adolescents, pregnant women, and lactating mothers, require more zinc to support growth, development, and overall health. Now, I will discuss the molybdenum. So, molybdenum is a trace mineral found in a very small amount in the body. Only about 9 milligrams. Inana siya ka small amount lang. 9 milligrams lang siya na makitaan sa body nato. So, it is mainly stored in the liver, kidneys, adrenal glands, and the blood cells. So, even though only a small amount is needed, it plays an important role in maintaining good health. So even gamay lang yun na siya, like even 9 milligrams lang na siya. Pero dako ang gina-play ana na role sa ato ang body. And other function of molybdenum is a component of several enzymes that help the body break down proteins, sulfur-containing amino acids, and other substances needed for normal metabolism. So, what you can see sa screen, so mao na siya ang mga good source or food sources of molybdenum. Naadara ang dried peas, beans, lean meats, and poultry. So, adults need only a small amount each day, about 50 to 500 micrograms to stay healthy.
My topic is chlorine. Chlorine, one of the trace minerals needed by the body. First is the description. Chlorine is mainly found in the bones and teeth, where almost all of the body fluoride is stored. Small amounts are found in the thyroid gland and skin. During childhood, fluoride gradually build up in the teeth while they are developing. As we grow older, the amount of fluorine has several important functions. First, it strengthens the teeth and bones. Second, it forms a stronger tooth enamel, making the teeth move resistance to cavities or dental caries. It also helps reduce bone loss and may help in the treatment of osteoporosis, especially in adults. Food sources. The main source of fluoride is drinking water, whether in it naturally present or added through fluoridation. Of deficiency. Deficiency, when the body does not get enough fluoride, the most common problem is dental caries or tooth decay because the tooth enamel become weaker. Social rules in nutrition. Fluorides help maintain healthy teeth and bones. Good nutrition and oral health work together to prevent dental disease. Social role in nutrition. Fluorides play an importance in maintaining health, teeth, and bones. And the next is selenium. Selenium, the amount of selenium in the foods depends on the selenium content of the soil, where plants grow or where animals get their food. So selenium work together with vitamins E to protect the body cells. So dito naman sa four sources of selenium include organ meats, muscle meat, cereals, and dairy products. When a person lacks selenium, signs may include muscle pain and tenderness, pancreatic degeneration, meaning damage to the pancreas,